Hello and welcome to The Extraordinary Nurse. My name is Victoria. If you're new on here, welcome. Thank you for stopping by today. And for everybody who has seen the first video and is back here, thank you as well. Before we go into today's video, I just want to take a moment to appreciate everybody that showed support for the introductory video. I just want to quickly thank you for the likes, the views, the comments, and feedback. It was extremely helpful, and it was beautiful to see people show that immense amount of support. Thank you very much. And yes, so we're going into today's video. From the title already, you can obviously tell what it's about. I'm just going to be answering a series of questions as regards my journey through nursing and reasons for decisions and all of that. Okay, so let's start. My name is Victoria. As you already know, I am a registered nurse. I am a public speaker as well, and a health enthusiast, like I had said previously. I have had the opportunity in the course of my nursing career to go through various acute care settings. I have worked in schools, I have worked in the community, and I currently work in an acute care setting, but in a non-bedside role. So I have moved from different capacities, and this has reiterated to me the reason why I wanted to do nursing in the first place. I feel like nursing as a profession is very broad, and that means you're able to go from different points and different areas in the profession in itself. It is very vast, and if you happen to be somebody like me who gets quite bored very easily, or who likes to always push yourself and go out of your comfort zone, I would say nursing is the best choice for you. You have the opportunity to go from different roles. You have the opportunity to be in one place at this time. And if you find that that's not challenging enough, you have the opportunity to go do other things. Yes. Why nursing? I think when my mom was like 6 months pregnant with me in her tummy, obviously not, cut out all of that. About I would say 26 years ago. Yes, about 26 years ago, I had my first encounter over a long period in an acute care setting in the hospital. My immediate older sister was very sick, and leading up until her death, we did have that acute care setting encounter on a daily or weekly basis, so to speak. So that was the first time ever that I got into the hospital regularly and frequently. And I mean, I was old enough to understand. So that was my first encounter with the hospital. At that point when that happened, yeah, it looked like something I wanted to do. I particularly liked the fact that there was help. I liked the fact that everybody in the profession was there to help people. And when I mean profession, I don't necessarily mean nursing. I mean like healthcare professionals in general, like the doctors, everybody working in the acute care setting at that time. Their main goal was towards the wellness of the patient, and sometimes it involved their family at that point. Now, I'll just like to give a little bit of a background. Prior to doing nursing, I have a first degree in biochemistry. I actually do have a first class in biochemistry. And prior to that, I had started off right after high school. I had started off in medical school, so I was reading medicine and surgery. I left medical school at the beginning of the fourth year for a number of reasons that I'm not going to go into today. And so I had to take a few steps back, sit and decide what it was I wanted to go back to do. So at that point, I made a decision to read biochemistry, and I did have a first class in that. Then I relocated with my family to Canada, which is where I'm currently based. And I had the opportunity to decide to do to do something different. Now, as a child, I knew I wanted to do teaching. I remember back then I would have chalkboard and I would always get chalks. My mom is a retired teacher, so I would get chalks and all that. I would always scribble and write on the door, on like chalk, on like the blackboards and all of that. So it was something I always knew I wanted to do. I wanted to teach. I wanted to impact knowledge. It was something I really loved. So when we moved to Canada and I wanted to now do a new career, I decided to go into nursing. Now, this is not to say that I already had it figured out. No, I didn't. But it looked like something I wanted at that point. So going through a number of resources, research and all of that, I found that, it was something I liked to do. But then I didn't also want to have that 4 years of being an undergraduate, because I also, like I said, I have, based on my previous history, I have been in quite a number of schools, so I have spent a decent amount of time in the university. So it wasn't like I was looking for something that would be fast and easy, so to speak. When I was going through, when I was doing the research part of going to do nursing, I then stumbled on the accelerated program. For some schools, it's called the second entry program. So pretty much what that is you have a previous bachelor's. Of course, you need to have a minimum of a particular grade. Then you have to have some prerequisite courses. And then you would be offered a spot in the accelerated program or second entry program as it is called. And you would complete a bachelor's of science in nursing in about 24 months, give or take. So that seemed very interesting, like what I wanted to do. And so far, I would say that has been very beautiful. I have enjoyed every bit of being a registered nurse. I have loved every role and in every capacity I have worked, and that has been amazing. How did I get to decide what I wanted to do? Okay. So like I had said earlier, I wanted something that I enjoyed. I wanted to do something I loved to do. I didn't want a situation where I would be very grumpy or angry going to work. So I wanted something that was lifelong enjoyment for me rather than endurance, so to speak. When I got out of my first bachelor's, when I had that done, that's the one in biochemistry, I worked for a number of years in HR, and for every role I worked in HR, I think the most fascinating to me was when I worked in training. And right now, in retrospect, when I see it, I'm like, okay, maybe I loved that because it had that element of knowledge impartation and human interaction and training, so to speak. Because I had said I wanted to be a teacher as a young girl, that kind of like resonated with me. It seems like something I really was enjoying and doing while I was doing it, rather. So going now through different settings or different parts in nursing, I see now that there isn't any capacity in nursing that I have worked that I haven't had to do, like patient teaching or like interactions or a point where there was teaching. For every role I have worked in, there has always been that interaction where patient teaching has ensued. For every time you meet a client or a patient, there would always be questions. For every time you're doing something, even medication administration, you're giving information. You're pretty much wearing different hats. And in wearing that, most times, a lot of times with nursing, you're not just giving that information and walking away. You're giving that information and asking for feedback. You're giving that information and asking if there are questions, and obviously answering those questions. So I would say that this has been a brilliant journey for me. I love being a nurse. I love providing care. And most importantly, I love what I do, which I think is like the very essence of being in a profession. What areas have I worked? I have worked in quite a number of areas. Like I said, I have worked in the community. I have worked in schools. I have also worked in an acute care setting, in fact, in an emergency unit of a pediatric hospital. And most recently, I work in an acute care setting. However, the job role I have there is providing safe care to clients wherever it is they call home. So for me, that just sums everything up, because right through nursing school, I always knew I wanted to work either in the community or public health capacity. It's something I've always loved, because I didn't necessarily, I would say, from my background of coming from a developing country in here, I would say that I have always looked at an acute care setting like a hospital, like what it is, a hospital. When it's an emergency or something that's very acute, then you should be there. So for me, having to have people be in their houses if they don't need to be in the hospital, or be wherever they call home and receive care, is absolutely a dream for me. It is one of the things I love so much. So for me, that is in itself one very major and helpful one major thing I wanted when I thought about doing being outside of the hospital setting or being in the community. Finally, the last question is, how was your journey? If you have heard anything I have said through the beginning, all of my rambling through the beginning of this video, is that I have spent a decent amount of time in school. So if I would describe this journey, I would say it did seem quite straightforward, for lack of a better word. It's one that it moved the way I wanted it, and I had anticipated it would move. Now, that's not to say that there have not been any ups and downs and all of that. I mean, like I have hinted from my first video, nursing in itself is very stressful, and being in a compressed program was also quite stressful. Because it means that for all of that 24 months, you had classes back to back. You pretty much, I think the longest break I must have been just a few weeks. So there is always that piece of you're in school at every point that you're thinking about it. Now, the main thing that I would want anybody to take from this is, if you have that desire to do it, then you can. You just have to put certain things in place. And when I mean certain things in place, I mean no man is an island. If there is one thing we all need as humans, is that support. We technically cannot do it on our own. There are times that it's going to feel very overwhelming. It's going to feel like you want to end the journey of being in school and all of that. That's the part that the right support system comes in. Support in terms of family, in terms of resources, in terms of friends, in terms of classmates, whatever support looks like for you, it is very important to have that through the journey. And with that, we've come to the end of today's introductory video. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. And like I always say, please make sure to share this video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching, and thank you for also being on this journey with me. And it is Victoria, the Extraordinary Nurse, and I will see you in subsequent video. Thank you.